You're starting to worry me now.
How
Panic.
many
Right now.
times should they hit the panic button?
Break it. Support for Dorm Debate is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping with the code DORMDEBATE.
Ladies and gentlemen, we talk a lot about balls on this show. Context being football. We are Dorm Debate Podcast, and I won't share the details of what I do and don't shave, but a little story for mine is that I lost the usual razor I use. I cut my hair and such, and it was as if someone, I'm not going to say it was Manscaped, but my usual razor disappeared and I could not find it for the life of me. And coincidentally, we got the package, and let me tell you, I was so impressed by the quality of these things. Like, it came in so clutch because I was getting really frustrated that I couldn't find it. I lose things all the time. I haven't lost this guy because the quality is pristine. It comes with a braided cord on the connection, and it's overall a great package, and I'm so happy that we get to share the confidence that Manscaped can bring to you. The Performance Package 4.0 by Manscaped has arrived, and it is a game changer. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies.
First off, the Lawnmower 4.0, this trimmer is the future of grooming, and dare I say the greatest ball trimmer ever. I was personally blown away and surprised by the performance and the craftsmanship of this trimmer. You guys know I'm an engineer. I value the ergonomics in products like these, and it's very comfortable to hold in your hand and has a light on it, which I'll get to in a second. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has a 4000K LED spotlight for a more precise shave.
Because this trimmer is waterproof, you can say goodbye to the mess on the bathroom floor. You thought that was good, but want to take your grooming game even further to the next level? The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate nose holes.
The Crop Preserver below-the-waist deodorant and Crop Reviver below-the-waist toner will change the way that you approach your daily hygiene routine. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0. The Manscaped Boxers, which I am wearing right now, and the Shed Travel Bag that I use daily. Bring your comfort and boxers to another level.
Once again, get 20% off and free shipping with the code DORMDEBATE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And remember to use the code DORMDEBATE. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dorm Debate podcast. I hope you guys all enjoyed the week 2 slated games. We all did. The Cowboys won finally. So, Jonathan, you got to be happy.
Yeah, I'm happy. I mean, there's still a long way to go, but that's a first step. We have the confidence now. Now we just need to continue to execute. And Cooper Rush is not looking bad, right? He's not looking bad.
This could be like a Dak takes over Romo, Rush takes over Dak.
I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, he didn't make much mistakes. He just kept the drives going, and our defense is good. Our defense is our strong point right now, so we should feed off of that, and then the offense just move the ball, burn the clock. I think I like our style right now.
I want to let you guys know to follow us over on TikTok and on Instagram at Dorm Debate Podcast. If you're listening on Apple Podcast or on Spotify, please leave us a 5-star review and make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button on this video. Run that number up, get the likes all the way to double digits. Come on. Can we get to double digits, please? All right, let's move on to the first topic on hand. Now, the game we're going to be playing today is called Panic or Patience. Now, this is a game that we introduced in John's show last year, Panic or Patience with fantasy players. Now we're going to be doing it with NFL teams that are 0-2 or haven't won a game, which would refer to the Colts, who have a tie. So we have the Bengals, Raiders, Colts, and Titans, all AFC teams. And we're going to ask if you should be panicking or if you should just be patient with this team. Now, I do want to read a stat that John and I found about 0-2 teams. Now, the 0-2 teams we're going to be talking about, Bengals, Raiders, and Titans. So, since 2020, no team has started 0-2 and made the playoffs. So, if that stands, Bengals, Raiders, and Titans, you're out of luck. You missed the playoffs in week 2. Done.
Wow, that's a crazy stat that
And interesting
That
because the
can't be
Colts,
true.
yeah, and it's 0-2. So the Colts who are 0-1 with the tie,
who didn't,
That
they still have a
ties-
chance.
they still have a chance, and they're the
Yeah.
only team from that list that didn't make the playoffs last year, right?
Yeah.
So there's still
Yeah.
hope. I mean, we'll see what our answers are, but statistically speaking, there's still some hope if you're a Colts fan.
Well, let's get into it. We're going to find out. First off, we're going to do the Bengals. My Bengals. Now, the reason they're 0-2, for one, is because they're not playing Chris Evans. He's just doing kickoff returns, which is just blasphemy. It's not
Get him,
right.
get him in the
He's-
backup there. He'll help. He'll turn the thing around.
Get him the ball.
Yeah.
Samaje Perine is not good. He's washed up and old. Get him off. Chris Evans, get the fresh legs. Get that Alvin Kamara, McCaffrey type running back, and you'll be winning games in no time. Other than that, the Bengals are now 0-2. Losses to the Steelers and the Cowboys. And to translate, Mitch Trubisky and Cooper Rush.
Oof.
So things are not looking good for the Bengals. Some may say Super Bowl hangover. I don't know. Now, I'll start this one off for you guys since I am a Bengals fan, of course. I've been with them since last year, since I bought this jersey. So I'll tell you this. I don't want to freak out. So I'm going to say patience. And there's a couple of reasons why. They have one of the best receivers in the game, Jamar Chase. They also have T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, great receiving core, but also Hayden Hurst, a big pickup for them that he caught the ball a lot. He had some good touches, and I like that Joe Burrow and him are developing a good connection. I think he's going to be a little bit more consistent than Uzama last year. So with that offense, I think it just needs time. And they have a new offensive line. So they made a lot of changes and they upgraded, but they still need that chemistry. And the chemistry will come with experience and more games. So I'm not too worried about the offense. The defense is what I'm worried about. You're letting up touchdowns with Mitch Trubisky, Cooper Rush. These are cakewalk games that you should be shutting down these inexperienced quarterbacks, and they're not doing that. And with such a veteran defense that went all the way to the Super Bowl last year, they are starting off very slow, and that Super Bowl hangover is looking real. They have no morale, no hype around the first 2 games, and I'm just going to be patient with them. And I believe in this offense. And as of late, the last couple of years, big offenses, they go far in the playoffs. They make the playoffs. So I'm going to say be patient with the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing. I'm going to agree with Jared on this one because I know they're 0-2, and it's looked pretty ugly so far, losing to, like Jared said, Trubisky and Cooper Rush. But I think it was a multitude of things. I think one of them is the offensive line. It seemed like they upgraded on offensive line, but then they've been getting sacked a lot and getting pressured too much. So I think it's more of a chemistry thing, getting the guys used to the playbook and playing together. So I agree with Jared on that. And I mean, we know the Cowboys, after losing week 1, it was kind of just unfortunate that they had to play the Cowboys in week 2, because I feel like the Cowboys would have just beat any team that they faced, because they lost week 1 and then their home opener in week 2, that defense was going to come out and just play insanely good. So I think it was a little unfortunate, but when you look at the next few games for the Bengals, I really like their chances to get back to over 500 pretty quickly because they play the Jets this week. Then they're home against the Dolphins. They're at the Ravens, and we saw what Burrow did to the Ravens last season. And then they got Saints, Falcons, Browns, Panthers before their bye in week 10. So I think they could easily, in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, go 5-2 at least, and then be above 500 by their bye. So I think their matchups in the next few weeks are good. I think they'll be able to gain momentum, and I think this offensive line will get back together and gain some chemistry. So I'm definitely being patient with the Bengals. I'd not be surprised if they, were the exception to that stat that you put out, Jared, that the Bengals could still make the playoffs, I think.
Yeah, so this is a panic moment for the Bengals. Look, I know what I'm talking about, okay? I said this last year when they were on a winning streak and people were like, oh, Bengals, Joe Burrow, all that. Look, they were doing pretty well, but like I knew it was a fake thing.
They went to the Super Bowl.
They went to the Super Bowl. It was really lucky. Patrick
I'm
Mahomes,
not going to argue with that. I agreed with you.
It was a close game.
It was like so lucky. Like sometimes that happens. Sometimes it happens, and it happened to be last year for the AFC division. And so, look, I could sense that they weren't as great as people were giving them credit for. Things just went in their favor. Chiefs made a couple mistakes in the AFC Championship, and they found themselves in the Super Bowl. And even in the Super Bowl, they played pretty well. It was a pretty close game, and again, it was just a lucky year for them, I would say. And so this team this year, this is the actual Bengals team, okay? And I do agree with John. A lot of it has to do with the line. And honestly, I'm a bit nervous for Joe Burrow because this reminds me of, I think Shannon Sharp said this, Andrew Luck, right? Andrew Luck experienced a lot of injuries because of his line and all that, and ended his career early. And so Joe Burrow, the Bengals better start protecting him, whether it's picking up people in free agency or something. But like their O-line is terrible. It was last year, and they found themselves in the Super Bowl because of luck. But you can't fake it again this year. I mean, everybody can see what your weakness is. Rush Joe Burrow. He can't do anything, right? And so, look, I think this is a real panic situation for the Bengals. 0-2 is tough to get out of that. It's really tough to get out of that. And so, yeah, I mean, the Cowboys, again, they won, but honestly, we probably should have beat them by 40. We should have beat them by 40. Yeah, if Dak was there,
you get one win, and all of a sudden they beat you by 40.
I mean, if Dak was there, we would have beat him by 40 or something because
he was there, too great, still on the sideline.
Yeah, he was on the sideline. But yeah, he wasn't looking too great. So yeah, I'll definitely panic if I was a Bengals fan for sure.
I'd go patience. I'm not going to add more to what Jared or John you guys said, but I agree a little bit with the idea of circumstance as another way I'd say what you were saying, Jonathan, where like literally last season, a lot of the times the luck of winning or losing came down to what team flipped a coin in the playoffs, then called it right, I don't think we got to see Josh Allen against Mahomes, in that overtime. They just went up and scored. Good for them. But, we've talked about that before. But I think the Bengals did actually get to lose the coin toss, but still win against all odds. So, but you're right. It's a bit of luck, not to say it's not earned or anything, but it's just what it was. I'm saying patience because I still think there are good teams. Adding to a little bit more it's too early to tell. 0-2 doesn't look great, but a team that could finish 14-2, 15-2, that's still a great team. Not to say they're going to go undefeated for the rest of the season, but it's too early to make big assumptions. I think those losses to the Steelers and the Cowboys are games that are games of circumstance where maybe, this is the game of football. Statistically, on paper, you're going to have better talent for talent, pound for pound, and yet it's a game of inches, and the ball can just go a little bit one way or the other, and you can win or lose. And those two losses came down to the wire back to back, and they just didn't go the way of the Bengals. I don't think that's a reflection on the team. We talked a little bit last week about, I think, Jared, it was our picks of you had no faith in the Chargers. I lost faith in the Raiders. Like certain teams, when they lose that way, it's like, oh, it's them again. I don't get the feeling with that with the Bengals. I just think it just didn't go their way for the first two. I don't think they're in danger of a Super Bowl hangover because they were a young team that persisted and against odds made it to the Super Bowl. And they have a young team in the sense of that defense has a lot of young studs. They're better veterans now having gone to the Super Bowl, but they're still maturing. So I think that'll help. My only panic part that I would agree with is and maybe this is a testament to the coaching of the Steelers and the defense of the Cowboys, but you just can't let Burrow keep getting those hits. I know he got help, but didn't he get sacked or hit 7 times or so against the Cowboys? Like, you just cannot, after he already had an ACL injury, he can be a great quarterback, but if he doesn't feel comfortable, and if you don't, like, hey, legit, get Chris Evans, get help. You got to have more of a run game too. Like, I want him to be able to spread the ball, but you can't play a defense if they don't ever fear the run seriously. That's what like teams like the Eagles, like the Bills, like that's you're seeing these high-powered passing offenses need at least a stud on or depth at the running back position to make the defense play honest about RPOs or play action. Because if there's no real threat, then they're just going to always cover your guys. So you need to spread the ball around. My biggest concern is that they did get help for the offensive line, yet why is he getting this much pressure still? And you got to protect your asset. So I still think it's early, despite saying that, like you guys are saying, it's chemistry, but I'm putting patience. But that would be the one marker that I'm consistently looking at is he still getting pressured against teams that have lesser run blitzes, defensive lines? Is this happening still? Then what's the problem? But if it doesn't, then I think some games will start going their way, and they'll be the team that can at least make a playoff appearance.
All right, to recap, Jonathan, the only one panicking.
Oh yeah,
Is that correct?
that's correct.
All right.
That's correct.
All right. I just want to make sure for the records. Next team, the Raiders. Raiders are now 0-2. They had a loss to the Chargers in week 1 and lost a huge lead against the Cardinals. I think we all saw that game, how it ended in overtime. A Hunter Renfrow fumble returned for a touchdown. Game over. Cardinals win. So I'm sure every Raiders fan is panicking right now, but let's take a step back. It's just 0-2. All right. Let's let the hype of that loss, go away. Let's reconvene. 0-2 Raiders. John, are you panicking?
No, I wouldn't panic just yet. I don't know about making the playoffs from 0-2. They might not be an exception to that stat. I'm not going to mention the playoffs. I really don't know right now if they're going to make it, but I wouldn't panic just yet. I would be patient with the Raiders because you have a new coach. You have a new star player on the offense. It might take a little bit to get used to. The only thing I'm really worried about is the fact that they let the Cardinals, who looked horrible in week 1 against the Chiefs and looked horrible in the first half against the Raiders, they let them come back. And I put some pressure and I put the blame on Josh McDaniels because he's the head coach and he's calling the plays that are just running the ball. Like when they're up by 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, they just run the ball and be content with punting it. Like you have Devontae Adams and Renfrow and Waller. You should be able to keep moving the ball down the field and separate your team from the other team, especially if it's the Cardinals who have a pretty bad defense, but you let them get stops and you let them get momentum. So that's what I'm worried about. But I think they'll figure it out as the season goes on. Their next 3 games are Titans, Broncos, Chiefs before the bye, which I think could be tough. But I think after that bye week, they're going to start to gain momentum. And after the bye, they play Texans, Saints, Jags, Colts, Broncos, Seahawks. I think they're going to start to get into a rhythm after the bye week. But for now, I'd be patient with them.
Yeah, so for the Raiders, it's not going to get any easier. I'll panic. I'll panic in the sense that it's going to be really tough for them to make the playoffs. I don't think they're probably going to make the playoffs given their division. They're probably in the toughest division in the AFC West. And I mean, the Chiefs aren't slowing down. The Chargers aren't slowing down. They competed well against the Chiefs just last week. And so it's going to be really tough for them to find a place in the playoffs, in my opinion. And I agree. There's a new coach, a couple new players trying to mesh things together and get chemistry. But it's going to be a little too late. I think. Again they're going to win quite a few games, but they're going to be in the middle of the pack. They're going to be average. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. It's going to be really tough to do so. And so it's not just their offense not clicking. Their defense has been great, and like people like Hunter Renfrow. I mean, he's been with the Raiders. I mean, I know he's a new coach, but it doesn't matter what coach you have. If you fumble like that, I mean, that's bad. You're supposed to be one of the top receivers on the team. So I think it's definitely panic mode for Raiders.
I'll add to that quick. I can't blame Hunter Renfrow for that because I think I did it. I dropped him from fantasy, and word must have gotten to him. And in that moment, he was just like, "Man, Caleb dropped me," and then the drop must have been like a Freudian slip, and his hands dropped the ball. So that's on me. I apologize.
He's like, if Caleb loses confidence in me, then I'm done. I'm washed.
Like, darn, it's over.
To do it twice, like that. That's, I mean,
I can't explain the second time. That's
no. Did you pick him up and drop him again?
He's like, please. Now, I'm actually going to agree with Jonathan. Not bouncing off of that a little bit, but more. Did you guys hear about the allegations? And this isn't not in a criminal or civil sense, but that there were rumors that when Brady was leaving the Patriots, he was going to a variety of teams that were interested. And apparently one of the teams that were in questions hasn't been confirmed. Why it's an allegation. I'm not going to say the word because we try to keep it clean. We're not. But he said that mother trucker, in reference to the other quarterback that he would be replacing. He's like, you want to keep this guy compared to getting me? This was, before he was the Bucs. And I think as of a few hours ago, there was persistent rumors. There's always been some ideas. I think entering week 3, there was a report that Fitzpatrick, Harvard grad, journeyman quarterback, who was, I think, with the Dolphins at the time, thought it was him, opened up on a podcast that was about him. And I think, this is from the grapevine. There's no real word from Brady himself, but the rumor mill, as it has it right now, believes that the guy in question was Derek Carr. And so I think, whether that's true or not, that being the topic of that, literally, I think it was on Pat McAfee's show they were saying, and one of the comments was like, it says something that if Brady with other guys who keep thinking it's them says, oh, it's not him, but around Derek Carr, he doesn't confirm it or deny it, there's a little bit of you wonder, So I think that cloud has been with Derek Carr for years. We talked about this last week when we were predicting the games, that I think the Raiders are a great team to have opportunity to do that, but like with our last segment with the Bengals, like they lose games like that, and you're like, oh well, they just kind of always lose these kind of games. You never want that with your team. And the Eagles had that years ago. It affects the fan base, it affects the players. Like, this is a mental game as well as a momentum game, and I'd say it's panic because they do have Devontae Adams. Will get a bunch of fantasy points. Derek Carr's not a chump. He can do well as a quarterback too. But with the new coach, this hanging over them, do they have enough of a diverse team with a strong foundation to make a deep run? I don't. That's why I'm going with panic for these guys.
I'm also going panic. It worries me that with a new coach like that, in overtime, you're going to Hunter Renfrow and not the guy you just paid, Devontae Adams, and you traded for him and everything, and you don't go to him. You go to him 2 times for 12 yards and a touchdown in a game that you had in your hands, and you lost it, and then you had a chance to win it again in overtime. You got the ball back, and you still don't go to him. So that is a worry thing for me, and I'm panicking. I'm panicking on the Raiders, and like Jonathan said, they're in the best division, so it does not get any easier.
Do you guys give any credit to Kyler though and the Cardinals? Because I was watching that, and I know there's been question marks around that team as of late, but I was watching the highlights and I'm like, he
Kyler did amazing.
He looks clutch.
He did
Yeah,
amazing.
I don't know what you
Yeah.
guys think. You guys think he's the real deal?
That 2-point conversion was incredible to watch.
ball
That was like
arced.
an hour long.
Yeah, and on one of the passes, like the ball arced over just over the hands, and it just dipped perfectly into the pot. I mean, I don't know. I'd be pretty excited if you're a Cardinals fan.
No, there's not many quarterbacks that could lead a comeback like that. The way he is so twitchy too, like I don't know, to be able to run like that and pass like that, there's not many that have that great combination.
Yeah, there was a tweet someone said that the Kyler is disrespectful, but coming off of this, so they said Kyler runs like a toddler who took your phone and is like running away with it.
Yeah.
Next time you watch him, just like think
he-
about that tweet. And
he holds the ball out like this. He with like one hand. He's like,
yeah. I mean, that's what makes him hard.
He never tucks it.
You ever try to get a kid with that? Like, that's how they hold. It gets the lower center of gravity, agility. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Low center of gravity. Next team, the team without 2 losses but with 1 tie is the Colts. My Super Bowl dark horse. They tied against the Texans and lost against the Jags. Not a very good record whatsoever. Some may say that may be the easiest schedule in the NFL, and they didn't come out with a win. So that's very concerning. And I'll start this one off and say I am officially panicking. I'm panicking big time because this team was my Super Bowl pick, and they were supposed to be one of the top AFC teams. I thought they would breeze by in the easiest division known to man with the Texans and the Jags and the Titans. The Titans freaking downfall. The Jags aren't clicking, and the Texans are the Texans with long neck Mills. And you can't beat any of them? I can't comprehend. I think we talked about this, John. I don't know if it was on the podcast or just here. The morale problem. Can you not get these players hyped up? You haven't beat the Jags in Jacksonville since 2007, and you can't get hyped up for that. How? You have a new quarterback. You have the best running back in the league, and you're not even using Jonathan Taylor. Pittman's out, and nobody steps up. Paris Campbell gets 0 points. Naheem Hines, 2 receptions. They're not using them. I'm at a loss for words with this team. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know if Frank Wright or whatever his name is needs to be fired. I'm panicking, and anyone who says they're not panicking is lying. John?
I am also panicking for the Colts. This is really bad. I mean, how do you tie against the Texans and lose, and not only lose, but get shut out to the Jaguars? I mean, you couldn't even put up a field goal. You couldn't even get past midfield. You couldn't even do anything. You have one of the best running backs in the league, and you couldn't even get close enough to get a field goal? I mean, I think the season's done. I think it's over. Throw it out. I mean, Pittman didn't play last week. Leonard, their star linebacker, still hasn't played this season. So maybe when they come back, they could get a win or two. But in this gauntlet of the AFC, they can't keep up. They just can't. And I thought their defense was going to be good with Gilmore, but apparently nobody's hyped to win a game, and I'm really concerned. I think it's time to panic. I don't even know who's going to win this division. Maybe it's the Jaguars. Who knows? But the Colts, I'd be surprised if they made the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Look, the Jaguars looked really good on Sunday, and I think that has to do with the coach. I've been saying this. Gosh, it's blanking.
Doug Peterson?
Doug Peterson. Okay, Doug Peterson. I can't believe I forgot his name.
It's okay to
Doug Peterson.
It's okay.
I've always known he's a great coach ever since he was on the Eagles. He's really smart. I knew he was going to turn this team around, and so it looks like the Jags are a different team. And so if you're in the Colts and you're in that division, and then you lose to the Texans, I mean, you got to win those games. Those games that you must that you're projected to win, you got to win those, right? And so, yeah, it's going to be tough to get out of this. They've sort of put themselves in a hole, even though it's first 2 games, right? It's tough to always come back. And so, yeah, I think Matt Ryan, he needs to, probably play a little bit better, right? You can't just depend on Jonathan Taylor. You can't depend on Jonathan Taylor to, win the MVP again, right? Or get the rushing award for the year or whatever. You gotta You got to play a little bit better, Matt Ryan, and rally your troops. And there's excuses like Pittman was hurt, right? So maybe they'll be a little stronger when he comes back. But still, you got to find ways to win besides depending on one player or one receiver. Matt Ryan, get a lot of receivers involved, you know. But yeah, I think they have to change things, switch things around, change the strategy. You can't do the same old and expect to be successful, right? So
Yeah, I'm actually gonna disagree with you guys. I'm gonna say it's patience time. Maybe I'm biased because I have Taylor in fantasy, but here's my those are you guys have good reasons that are fair. The reason I'm saying patience is it's too early. They have a tie that might become really important when they're going into potentially making the playoffs. That's a big statistical thing. Um, Tie against the Texans isn't a loss or a win. Sucks. I just think the Texans overall are no longer the Texans of old, where not only were they on the up with Deshaun Watson, but then they had a huge lull when he was on the team and allegations. So now that they've lost that weight, and they have Mills, he's not great, but my point being, don't underestimate the Texans of what they'll become. And the Jags are not in the same place as they were. Like Jonathan said, I think Doug Peterson can do a lot with Trevor Lawrence. There's still question marks there with him, but now it's like a rookie season all over again. James Robinson does not get respect as the running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I said this ever since I drafted him in fantasy last year. I got him again this year, I think as a pickup. But he actually think I had the most snaps or running. He was leading the league so far into 2 games as a running back, and some statistic doesn't really. I don't know, but my point being for patience is, do I think Matt Ryan is the solution long term? No, and I do agree that maybe the Colts fundamentally have a quarterback problem where they keep patching it up. Took a risk with Carson Wentz, which I agreed with. In hindsight, didn't work out, but it was a right call, I think. They had the problem of going from Manning to Luck, and then Luck, I think, maybe wisely retiring before there was any long-term damage from how many hits he was taking. Just can't do it, you know? So they've been doing a patchwork of quarterbacks. That's the deeper problem. But as with Matt Ryan, as with Jonathan Taylor, I'm saying patience because I think as the season progresses, they'll slowly get better and better more into who they are. Do I think Matt Ryan's a top quarterback? Maybe not, but he can be good and consistent. You know, compared to the who comes to mind is like the Kirk Cousins or the Tannehills. I think he's above them. Maybe older. There's downsides to that, but I think he can at least win a game. Win games for the Colts if he gets better. So
yeah, I'd hope he'd win a game.
Yeah, I mean, watch
Lord.
like 10 weeks they haven't won, but
please,
I'm hoping that they get him going a little more because it's the opposite of the problem with the Bengals. Like you gotta have a good run game, but if they always expect you to use your top guy, as we'll talk a little bit about with the Titans next, then the defense doesn't really have to be that creative. There are ways to stop the run. So you got to make the passing threat more realistic. And maybe part of that is getting some wide receiver help, making a trade or something. Or you just kind of say, yeah, this is our season. This is what's going to be until we can actually get a good quarterback that we can build a franchise around. So I think it's up to the Colts, but I'm going to say patience because it's just too early. And the tie we'll see, but I'm betting it'll help a lot more than if they were 0-2 right now.
Yeah, let's talk about their division rival, the Tennessee Titans. 0-2. They lost to the Giants and the Bills. Bills, that's a reasonable loss in Buffalo. That's fine. Giants, you're starting to worry me now. and let me just say this. Panic. So let me.
How many
I can't put into words.
How many
right
times
now.
should they hit the panic button?
Break it. And you should have been hitting the panic button when Henry got injured last year. And I told you guys the Titans, number 1 seed, were the fakest team out there. And Derrick Henry came back, and I said, if he is not fully healthy and he doesn't look good, that is not a good sign to have your best player be a running back. And now he is on the downhill, getting a lot older, and he's just coming off of an injury. That's a bad sign. It's a bad state to be in for an NFL team. And now you have Tannehill, who is just kind of filling in right now the last 2-3 years. And now it's starting to show. He's not that elite quarterback. He can't save you. You can't just put any Joe Schmoes in the wide receiver spots and think he's going to throw for 300 yards. And now he can't rely on Derrick Henry because people are stacking the box. And he gets hit one time and he's down. He's not the Derrick Henry of old who would stiff arm Josh Norman, throw him into the seats. He goes down immediately, first contact. So I'd be very concerned. I think it's Malik Willis season. I think anybody who's in fantasy, snag him up because he'll be starting in about 2 or 3 weeks. And you start the long journey of a rebuild, Titans. The long journey, but I think it's much needed. You weren't going to win anything with this team. And Malik Willis, Hassan Haskins at running back, Treylon Burks. You got a good core. Let's build on it. Let's see what young talent you got and get a pick in this draft.
Yeah, it's time to hit the panic button pretty hard right now. I mean, losing to the Giants, that's not great. Losing to the Bills 41-7, that's even worse, I think. I mean, yes, the Bills are good, but 41-7, it wasn't even like it was over by halftime. Like, oh. So, like Jared said, Henry is just slowing down. They touch him and he falls down. He doesn't really break tackles anymore. Doesn't really stiff arm many guys. I'm really concerned about the Titans. The only thing going for them, the only thing is that division sucks. It's the worst division in football. So it's possible that they can win the division. It really is. But I still think you should panic. I mean, even if they still win the division and get into the playoffs, this team's done for the foreseeable future. They're like Jared said, it's time to rebuild.
Yeah, I 100% agree with what John and Jared just said. Ryan Tannehill is not looking good at all. They definitely need to explore their options. He would of course, he was facing some pressure and stuff here and there, but you got to scramble and try to make a play. I mean, the NFL is evolving. I mean, you have the Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen's. If you want to compete against these guys, then you got to make plays. You can't just do what your coach says and just stand in the pocket and wait to get sacked. You got to make a play. This is the NFL, man. It's getting more tough. And so he needs to, if he doesn't do well in the next couple games, yeah, I agree with Jared. They need to explore Malik Willis because at least if he's about to get sacked or something, he's not going to give up. He's going to rush or he's going to try to make a play.
He's fast. He's
fast.
Way faster than Tannehill.
Yeah, exactly. He's fast. And so they need to explore options like that because it's getting like Derrick Henry's not what he used to be. I mean, it's tough being running back for a few years in the NFL, especially it's tough being elite running back for a few years in the NFL, right? And so, yeah, it's not the same. I mean, getting pounded like that every game, 16, 17 games. Yeah, I mean, he's not the same guy. And so, yeah, Ryan Tannehill has to step up anymore. You can't hide behind Derrick Henry. You should be developed by now. You've been in the league for a while. Mm-hmm. Make plays or go on the bench. So.
I mean, they put in Willis, right? Malik Willis is his name. They put him in towards the end of the Bills game. Watching that,
he didn't look great.
They didn't put him in a position to. I mean, they literally didn't put him in a position to win. Yeah. But what stood out to me was he seemed to play with heart. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he was going to lose. It was an insurmountable challenge. But watching him at least try to bring life to the offense was a breath of fresh air compared to what I was seeing with Tannehill from the first half. Like, you could go down a lot worse and still come back. They just looked like a defeated team. Credit to the Bills Mafia. That stadium was so loud and roaring that the Titans looked shook. Just morally, they weren't ready. But that also says a little bit to not to equate him to, but to compare him to a leader like Brady or someone going into an environment like that can still motivate your team to win. Even Wilson going back to the Seahawks, like they still put up a fight. The Titans from the get-go didn't look strong, and the heart wasn't there. So at least with Willis, there was. But yeah, I'd actually agree. It looks like we have a consensus here with panic. I think they have a great coach. They have a great. I think what would panic me as a Titans fan is if they win the division. Similar issue with the Raiders. How many years are you going to be contenders to be the team that wins it or goes deep and just keep not making it while not making any huge improvements? Saying nothing of the fact that losing A.J. Brown was a big loss. I know he's, as an Eagles fan, I'm happy to have him. But without that added elite passing element to complement Derrick Henry's running game, like Jonathan, you were saying, like the game has evolved in a way that I feel like back in the day, I'd be interested to see the statistics about this. Back in the day, you could see running backs dominate for years and just that be the whole game of running the ball. And now it's a hybrid. Passing is more, but that almost makes running. I mean, running's always going to be important, but you're seeing like we know more about how running backs wear down over years as they get older because it's such a punching position, as well as those contracts that elite running backs take kind of limits your other investments. So you're seeing running back by committee to not only diversify financially but also physically, that your best guys aren't taking so much damage, which I think is, smart. Maybe not if you're an elite running back wanting to make a bag, but that's the way that I think the league's going.
It's like the Packers and the Lions. The two running back system seems to be more efficient and less wear and tear.
Yeah.
So you can get more longevity out of each running back.
Right. And it's like, and if they do what the Titans were doing with a guy like Henry when they had Brown and even Tannehill, that system still works, as you might see with more stiffer quarterbacks. Like I just compare it to Brady, who is one of the is the oldest guy in the NFL. But you can be a bit of a tree if you're releasing the ball quick and you have a receiving element that makes defenses have to watch the secondary, And that's just say Brady has really good pocket presence. He's just not a scrambling quarterback. That's fine. You don't have to be a mobile quarterback. But I'd say it's panic because Tannehill and the team might do well enough that you don't want to move things around too much and not take any risks. But I'm kind of thinking they should. They should draft, initiate. I think Rabel's a good coach. Maybe a different quarterback will help. Or a change of scenery for him. So I think it's just, we talked about this last week, like as good as a coach can be, it really comes down to the quarterback and the consistency and the style of offense that kind of goes around that. Because sometimes you can plug a guy in, like you see with the 49ers, they still have chances, but it just, you got to have those fundamentals, even no matter how good of a coach you are. So I would say panic. I'd be looking at wanting to start this restructuring, this forward thinking with the Titans sooner rather than trying to make a playoff. Because with the guys, I'm not really with y'all with saying Derrick Henry is older. I mean, he's obviously statistically older. I don't think he's a bum. Like he's a great running back. They can win. He can tear it up. But
he's like 50 in running back years.
Yeah, we got to do like a dog.
The thing is, we haven't seen him like make a good play since like early last season. So that's why
and the injury is a part of that, coming off of injury. And I think there's a real thing with running backs improving as the season goes on. Like you get the wear and tear. You kind of, okay, this is my body. This is how it feels. Like you kind of get used to it. Where I saw some comments on Reddit where like receivers really start out strong and then they have like a low point game. So I feel like there's more consistency with running backs. So we'll see. And he can be part of the future even then as a veteran on that team. But I'd say panic for the Titans.
We're going to move on to predictions. This is great because I can recap what happened last week. And what happened last week was I went 2-0.
Oh.
So as soon as we start counting, that's when I get to counting the money and I get to winning. You already know I'm going to go 2-0 with these next two games.
I see.
Let's recap everybody. So I went 2-0, which improves my record to 2-2. Right in the middle of the pack. Jonathan, you went 0 for 2, so now you're 0 for 4. Better step it up a little bit.
Honestly, I've been trying to start this. Y'all want me to start trying?
Wait, hold on. Wait, Jonathan, are you going to try this week?
Yeah, you want to start trying?
Please.
Oh, it starts now. Okay.
Oh, okay.
It starts now.
I thought it started week 1.
No, it was warm up. It starts now.
All right, it's fine. John, you went 1 for 1, so now you're 3-1, and Caleb also went 1-1, so now you are also 3-1. So the rankings go interchangeable: John, Caleb, Jared, and Jonathan. Okay, forgot the last place.
So disrespectful.
Greatest comeback. We'll see. Falcons and Patriots, 28-3.
This is you're the Patriots right now.
Yes.
All right. So this first game, Raiders versus Titans. It is in Tennessee. We talked about the Raiders. We talked about the Titans. Both 0-2. Someone's coming out with a win. I hope. Maybe a tie.
I can't imagine.
That's a thing now. I'll start off with the Raiders. The Titans need to rebuild. The Raiders are just in a slump, and I think they could turn it around. They have great players. The Titans just don't have enough star power to get it done. So I'm going to take the Raiders. Oh, yeah. John wants to go last because he's first overall.
I can go next. I feel like I'll fault this to give Jonathan a little more time. I panicked for both these teams, so it's a tough pick for me. I think I'll go with the Raiders just because I think they're more well-rounded, and that's about it. Derrick Henry could go off, and that's what I could see happening. But who knows? Maybe Derek Carr uses that allegation from Brady that he's that guy that to channel some energy, some fury, and he's going to give the ball 100 times to Devontae Adams, something like that. So I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Something that elite players have in common is they all get really angry when they lose, and especially when they're on a couple of game losing streaks. The best player that's going to be on the field against the Raiders and Titans will be Devontae Adams. And believe me, he has a sour taste in his mouth. He's not used to losing like this. He wants to win again. So believe me, Derek Carr is going to target him more. They're going to try to give him the ball. They're going to try to find a way to give him the ball. And Devontae Adams is going to do the best he can to make sure his team wins this. And again, the last game against the Cardinals, they were doing really well. And then, Kyler Murray happened, right? And so if they can do similar to what they did last game and then be consistent and not coast the second half of the game, they should win this. And on the Titans side, they're depleted. They have no answers right now. Ryan Tannehill, he looks confused like a lost puppy. They're gonna lose.
Wow, you didn't have to do that to him. I just said he wasn't there.
I cannot wait for Sunday.
No, who's your pick? You're
the Titans are gonna win this game. I can't believe I'm the only one.
Are you just saying that? Do you actually believe that?
Oh my!
Yes, he's finally gonna lose.
He's finally gonna lose.
Titans are gonna win this game, and I'm gonna tell you,
we're all gonna gain a game on them. Let's go.
You guys are being way too cocky right now. It's gonna come back to bite you in the ass because the Titans are gonna win this game. I can't believe nobody else sees it but me. But the reason that the Titans are gonna win this game is because we have an 0-2 Raiders team. We have an 0-2 Titans team. Now.
That's right.
Yes, neither team really has answers. Neither team has won a game, so they don't know what it feels like to win. So what team or who would you trust more to motivate their team? Would you trust Mike Vrabel or would you trust Josh McDaniels? I would rather have Vrabel in my scenario because
that's the
last
question,
season,
Vrabel.
We saw last season they didn't even have Henry. And how did they end up with the first seed? So he's good at motivating his team. The Raiders with McDaniels, it's only his third game there. I don't know about motivating his team. I think the Titans are going to squeak a win out. I think it's going to be close. I think the Titans are going to play good defense. It's going to be like 20-17 or something like that. I think special teams for the Titans are going to come out on top. I think it's just going to be an overall solid game by the Titans, and they are at home, and they're going to be more motivated to win by their head coach.
I mean, dude, losing 41-7, that does something to you. I mean, that does something to your confidence.
Changes a man.
Yeah, but losing the lead to the Cardinals up 2 touchdowns, and you give up 2 touchdowns and then a touchdown in overtime.
Yeah, because you probably think we stole, but that game was stolen from us. We basically won it. Then they came back last minute.
Well, that's what the Titans think. They basically beat the Bills. If it wasn't for Diggs, they would have won.
They got dismantled. That does something to their confidence. Right now, they think they suck on all phases of the game.
That's good. That means they need to get their shit together.
I'd agree that Vrabel's the coach that I think he's a better coach overall. But I think I'm agreeing more with Jonathan on the sense that that's a demoralizing loss. I mean, it's to the Bills, so people will be like, yeah, I get it, But for the Raiders, it was like, I don't know, maybe growing pains with the new coach. They're just with Devontae Adams. They still have a good running game. I think with Jacobs and someone else. Yeah,
well, you guys could sugarcoat it all you want, but once you see the game, you'll know why I picked the Titans.
Okay. So we have a dissenter.
Okay. Now, there's no way, John, this next one, you don't pick the Bills. Because we're going Bills versus
The
Dolphins.
Dolphins looked really good. The Dolphins are at home in this game. I'll go
They
last, but it'll be close.
They looked pretty good against the Ravens. Started off very, very slow. Ended extremely well. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Tua clicking on all cylinders. Look, you can't stop Mr. Tyreek Hill, best receiver in the game. I'm going to say it on the pod. Best receiver in the game, can't stop him. And Waddle, Jonathan, you called it last year. You picked him in fantasy. He's a star, an immediate star. Man's only in his second year, and he's scored in 40 fantasy points. Just absolutely absurd wide receiver talent in Miami. And Tua, they're making it easy for him. He may not be the best quarterback, but he's just got to hit an open receiver, and he's fine.
Yeah, just
I
get
mean,
get it in his hands. I mean, the Bills have never been able to stop Tyreek, even when he's on the Chiefs. They just can't touch him.
He just has to tap the man button.
It's like a
Just
nightmare.
lob the ball up, and he'll get there.
Yeah.
Just lob it. So, for those reasons, I'm going to pick the Dolphins in a good upset.
Wow.
Yeah, I made a video on TikTok. If you haven't seen it, go take a look at the Dorm Debate TikTok.
Link in bio.
Yep, link in bio. It was just over one play. I was just talking about one play the Bills or the Titans did against the Bills. That was pretty good. And for some reason, people in the comments thought I was saying the Titans were going to upset the Bills. I didn't say that. And, that was kind of annoying. I'm saying the people in the comments, a lot of them are Bills fans. I think you guys have gotten cocky. So at last, a team that will shut you guys up. The Dolphins are going to shut you Bills fans up. You guys think you're cocky and all that. Josh Allen scoring all these touchdowns. You're dominating. Good. Well, Tua's going to show you who's boss when it comes Sunday.
Well,
right?
The thing is, the Dolphins have one of the best corners, Xavier Howard. If he's on Diggs, then what do? Gabe Davis is hurt.
Yeah, and let me tell you the key, though. Mike McDaniel. This guy's a genius.
He's creative.
He's Yale grad. It's shown on the field. People don't see it. He's just a small little guy. People don't know. People don't. It's like 5'9". This guy is wicked smart. He's using Tua's strengths to his advantage. That's why Tua's looking like a superstar. Tua's left-handed. He's doing a lot of plays on the left-hand side. You saw that touchdown to Tyreek. That was on the left. Tyreek was on the single side on the left. Right. So this guy's being really creative in terms of offense. That's why they're scoring so much points. And so that's why, the 49ers were pretty successful last year with Debo and everything. This guy's wicked smart. And I think he's going to come up with a great game plan against the Bills defense. This game is probably going to be a good scoring game, probably high scoring game. But Tua showed us that he can compete against the big dogs like Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to compete well against Josh Allen and the Bills. And so, yeah, I'm picking the Dolphins to win this. I just love that Mike.
How close do you think it'll be?
It's going to be pretty close. Okay, it's going to be pretty close. I wouldn't be surprised if it's similar to the Ravens game.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
If it's similar to the Ravens game, the thing is, for the Bills, if you are losing by like 3 or 4 touchdowns, it's really tough to come back. So I don't think it's going to be like that. I think it's going to stay close the entire time. And I think the Dolphins are going to end up picking this victory. I think they're playing in Miami as well.
Yeah, in
right?
Miami too.
Yeah,
so this is their best chance to beat the Bills right now.
Yeah, and so much speed. If y'all couldn't stop Tyreek on the Chiefs, the Bills fans, if they couldn't stop Tyreek on the Chiefs, then imagine him and Waddle. That's trouble. I play defensive back, and believe me, that's trouble.
That's tough.
2 speedy guys like that. Good luck. I'm glad I'm not on the field. I'm not gonna be on the field for that one.
Well, I'll add 2 to that. I'm going with. I think it's going to be a shootout for that game. I'm hoping like high scoring. I hope. I think I'm gonna throw this. You guys can answer this at the end, but I think this is a test your mettle kind of game. METTLE, like kind of. Let's see if the Bills are legit. A team that has shown 2 games in can be really good, really powerful. I'm going Dolphins for all the reasons you said. I like Mike McDaniels. I think it's underrated in the NFL that being a left-handed quarterback is so rare that defenses aren't accustomed to seeing that, and I don't think it's been exploited enough. Just because there's only 30, counting backups, like 30 to 60 men who in the world are starting quarterbacks in the NFL, and you just don't see that like a large percentage ever be left-handed. Not many. Maybe like Michael Vick's one that comes to mind, but I think that's an advantage with a guy like Mike McDaniels. They can use it, and to add the receiving talent, I'm going to mention a name like Mike Gesicki. I think that's how you say it, like the tight end for the Dolphins. Yeah, he's good. I think he's a solid tight end. I'd recommend him for fantasy pickup. I play all of you at fantasy at some point. I'll open that up to you guys. I might take him. So there, but I'm giving it to our audience as my input. I like him a lot. But I do think the Bills have a strong chance to win this game. But the Dolphins going in as a bit of an underdog, kind of not expecting. They've been bad for so long that I think they'll use that energy to potentially upset the Bills.
Wow. I actually am. I usually pick the Bills, but I actually think Miami's defense, coming off that comeback win against the Ravens, they're just flying high right now. They are playing really well, and the Bills, I think they won by too much to the Titans because they think they're all everything. I think they think they're the best in the league. Nobody can beat them. But here come the Dolphins at home, a good defense, Tyreek and Waddle. It's just too much speed, I think. But the Bills are going to win this game. I can't believe you guys actually think the Dolphins are going to win.
I knew it. I was like, all right, now, John, do your actual pick.
Yeah, that's why the whole first one.
I knew he was going to do that.
Raiders,
Guys,
Titans, I was
come
like,
on.
are you for
You
real?
really think that the Bills are going to lose to the Dolphins?
Yes.
No. Come on. You guys are
Dude, we're
I think it's
we're
gonna be
gonna
a good
gain 2
game.
games on
You
John.
I'm not
guys
going
are
to bet my
smarter
life
than
on
me.
it, but we just laid out the reasons why we think the Dolphins are.
I thought you guys are smart. What
No,
happened?
don't. What's
Dude,
going on?
Coaching
We're gonna
Why?
gain-
makes a big difference.
Wait, so
He has all the
either
pieces to be
wait, hold
successful.
on. So
I
either
think
I
it's
go
not.
0-2 or you guys go 0-2.
Dude, the standings are gonna flip.
I'm just going to
Ooh.
separate
Totally.
myself so
Oh, yeah.
much. It's not going to be fair. You won't have a
John,
chance.
sounds-
Jonathan, if I go 2-0 this week, you're going to be 0-6 for the season.
But then if I go 2-0, then we're going to be tied.
Okay.
Oh shoot.
Oh, how the
No,
Oh.
I'm not 2-4 then.
How the turn
You sure you want the Bills?
again.
I can't believe you guys really think the Dolphins.
Why do you?
guys
So
are
you still
crazy.
you really think the Bills? Are you pulling this a leg? You playing
No,
with us?
I legit 100% believe Bills will beat the Dolphins and Titans will beat the Raiders. That's what I truly believe.
I mean, it's a fair pick. I just what do you think?
It's his
How are they going
beliefs.
to shut down Hill and Waddle? You think it's just going to not? Defense is too good on the Bills.
I think the defense is just too good. I mean, I don't trust Tua. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
that's fair.
Jonathan and I said last week, we just don't trust Tua, in this big game against Lamar. He ended up showing up. So that concerns me a little bit, but I think the Bills defense is completely different than the Ravens defense. The Ravens have shit corners, and the Ravens are starting a rookie corner on Tyreek Hill. I guarantee that the Bills won't do that. So I think
Yeah.
I think the Bills will win.
Fair
I think the
points.
Bills will win by a good 10 to 15 points too.
I don't know if you guys are into Twitch streaming, but I was on TikTok, and on TikTok, if anyone's familiar, they have a live feature, and people play games and have a face cam on TikTok. So I'm scrolling through today, on a Tuesday. You'd think maybe teams are maybe working out or going through the playbook for next week's game, and I see freaking the fastest man alive, Tyreek Hill, playing Fortnite.
Oh wow.
This guy is not even concerned in the slightest about the Bills.
So you think?
They'll just say, "Run a go, and we'll get to you. We'll get you
Just
open.
make sure you get shield.
Just keep running go.
Get shield on the way. Make sure you have materials and hit the loot box.
Make sure you got the chug jug. Make sure you-
Yeah, people are going to be
My
surprised. Believe me, people are going to be surprised. I think Mike McDaniel, he's a better coach than Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott is more defensive mind, but Mike McDaniel is more of an offensive minded coach, and I think that's where you're gonna see the works of a great offensive minded head coach figure out different ways to make Tua successful and get Tyreek touchdowns and Waddle touchdowns. I think people are going to be surprised this weekend.
Yeah, I'm not backing down
Well,
for my
for-
Dolphins pick. I respect for Bills Dolphins, not to add on, kind of over on time. I respect that pick, John. I'm more confident in my Raiders one, but like for what you said, Jonathan, I think it's going to be I think that's one of the games to watch. Which if you said that years ago, people would laugh at you. Bills Dolphins, are you serious? But hey, it's a new age. You know, I think it's going to be one of the fun games to watch, especially if you know about football schemes and stuff to watch what those coaches do.
Yeah, for the record, I think the Dolphins will win this game, but I don't think McDaniels is better than McDermott. I just want to put that.
He might be. He actually might be.
Sean McDermott just has
This will be
better
next week's
talent.
conversation.
Anyways,
Yeah. I'm just want to put that out on the
it's a
record.
good question.
Make sure we're clear here. I don't
We'll
want to
see.
get
We'll see.
hate on the comments, but all right, that
gonna
is our podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode 3. The freaking season is flying by. It's all a blur. I feel like I just did week 2 yesterday and now we're filming week 3 today, so it's going by fast. As I said before, please hit that subscribe button. We passed 3,000. Thank you guys so much for all subscribing. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button because the road to 4K starts this week. So make sure you hit that, hit the like button, go over to TikTok and on Instagram at Don't Wait Podcast and hit the follow button over on there. We got some great content coming out on both platforms, and leave a 5-star review over on Apple Podcast and on Spotify. Thank you guys so much again for tuning in and hanging out with us. And as always, we will see you guys next week.